The Anyone But Cam Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of Season 2 of the Anyone But Cam Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm one of your hosts and one of your commissioners. My name is Frankie, and sitting right next to me is Cam. Cam, how's it going?
Well, Frankie, everything is delicious. Unfortunately, though, the Zebras beat the Lions last week. It was rough.
Zebra? Oh, no, not the Zebras.
So, I am getting a little sweaty about our bet, just so you know.
Uh-huh.
I was seeing something that was like, the Steelers' strength of schedule for the rest of the season is the easiest in the league. Lions is like the 12th hardest or something like that. A little spooky.
A little spooky. I mean, I don't know. The Lions probably should have won both of the last two games, but, you know.
I'd be fine going 1-1 in them.
Yeah.
It was against the Chiefs and the Packers.
Yeah.
We were competitive. That's good.
Right.
But, oof.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, but, I mean, you know, sucks to be you, but bam, did you see those Steelers in prime time? Oh my god, they were so good. On bye this week, which means I have, you know, I can actually enjoy watching football. So that'll be a thing.
Oh boy.
But yeah, let's get into this week in fantasy for our league. We'll start off with waiver discussion, winners and losers, preview of next week, and the mailbag segment as well. How does that sound to you, Cam?
Sounds like it'll be a good show.
Alrighty, we'll kick
like
off.
always.
We'll kick off here with the waivers.
Alright, so first things first, Dylan dropped $21 on Lazard, which is $21 more than anyone else bid, because no one else bid on him. So played yourself, Dylan.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad pickup by any means, but I don't understand. I didn't see the value in him, so I didn't bid on him. I know that I didn't see value in him, but I definitely didn't see $21 of value in him like Dylan did. I guess if you just really wanted to start for this week, I can kind of understand it. But yeah, it's not great when nobody else bids.
Yeah, I mean, at best he's going to be a week or two flex option, and that's not worth $21 IMO.
Yeah, and just like, I mean, he's not currently in your roster this week, but
So like, what's the point?
I mean, Devontae could be out for a longer amount of time, so we've seen with the turf toe, but yeah, we'll have to see about that. Yeah, next up.
Yeah, Levi got Mark Walton for $18. What was the next highest bid on that bad boy? $5 by Jake Logan. I mean, Walton is the running back 2 in Miami. That's great. Just kidding. But if Kenyon Drake gets traded, he'll be Kenyon Drake valuable, which is pretty much worth nothing.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I think I get like wanting to have a running back 2, potential running back 1 on the team, but like when the team is the Dolphins, who cares? Like, I don't get it.
And then Justin picked up Daniel Jones for $14. No one bid on him. And Justin has Jared Goff playing Atlanta this week.
Yeah.
So if he's picking up Daniel Jones to stream him, I don't really see why you do that.
Mm-hmm.
And go Justin. Well, confusing day of waivers.
Yeah.
And then finally, just Jake Logan pretty much just tried to renovate his whole bench/roster on waivers. He lost Disley, so he bid $11 on Darren Fells, which is pretty good pickup.
Yeah.
I mean, dropped O.J. Howard, pour one out. Also got Auden Tate, $11 too.
Which annoys me to no ends. The fact that I'm like poor, I didn't want to like bet a whole lot on him, but I really wanted Auden Tate this weekend. I was taking highest bid, but not good enough.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Auden Tate's been doing solid. I don't know.
I mean, he's better, as good or better than you could expect.
Yeah.
Someone like him.
And then also got Darrell Henderson, which I think is honestly the steal of this waiver run for $7, considering Malcolm Brown hurt his ankle either in the game or in practice, and it's been limited in practice, so he could be the running back 1 for the Rams against Atlanta.
Yeah.
Hoo-wee.
Could be very good.
And then also got Corey Davis. So, cool.
I don't hate the Corey Davis pickup with the quarterback change. It could be a whole different offense.
Have you seen his college highlights?
No, I actually have never seen his college highlights. I've only heard Jake talk about them.
I mean, he was in an awful division or whatever, so who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's about it.
That's about it for this. Yeah, nothing crazy this morning either. So, yeah, let's just get right into the winners and losers of last week. I have the winners this week, and I'll start off here with the first matchup in JP versus Tyler, and I have JP. JP has a pretty decent week here. Really gets propelled by 4 touchdowns between Hunter Henry and DJ Hunter Henry in prime time, coming off that injury that I talked about last week of being kind of not necessarily kind of a sketchy play, not someone you exactly necessarily want to rely on. But he gets the 2 touchdowns, as Tyler says, rips his heart out, which I too felt that from empathetically. Yeah, that was rough. No one else really had a standout game for the most part on GP's side, but those 4 touchdowns really helped push him over the top here. And speaking of players who just kind of had okay games, Keenan Allen continues to be in a little bit of a slump here. I think it's about 3 weeks now he's been in a slumping from his wide receiver 1 position he was at after the 3rd week of the season. Looked to get back on track this week. And then other notes here on JP's side. Oh yeah, on his bench here, Royce Freeman gets 16 touches, 5 of them through the air, which is pretty good for him. Just he seen that Royce has potential flex standalone value on a weekly basis. And then also my only question for JP's side of the ball here is, when in the world is Deshaun Jackson going to play football again? He's been gone for so long, and he misses more practices this week. Missed practice an hour ago. He after such a stellar week 1, it's just been a real hole on JP's roster ever since.
He's coming back this week so he can get bombs from Carson Wentz. Yay!
I think that is unlikely to happen.
Well, boo. Anyways, Tyler. Speaking of getting his heart ripped out, he kind of got some heart put back in him with Matthew Stafford at the beginning of that Green Bay game, getting 2 deep bombs and just like, oh, maybe I actually have hope for this game.
Yeah.
And then the kind of conservative play calling both ripped out Tyler's heart again and my heart as the Lions lost that game.
Yeah.
Otherwise, on Tyler's team, Nick Chubb has yet to score single digits on the season. Scored 25 points this week. He is a locked and loaded stud.
Yeah.
It's great. And then he had a couple good starts that you kind of weren't super confident in, like Duke Johnson still getting 12 points is solid.
Mm-hmm.
And then Devontae Parker, good call. He got 10 points for Tyler.
Yeah.
But there were just not enough boom on his team to overcome all the buys he had this week. Julio Jones, he needed to get more than 14 points if Tyler wanted to get this win.
Yeah, I think we pointed on the last podcast too. It's like, don't love starting Peyton Barber, and he goes 8 carries for 28 yards. There's not a whole lot going here on the upside side of the ball. Let's go to the next matchup then here. Jake versus Logan. Jake wins this week despite the fact that Minshew, Amari, and Disley combined for a total of 5.42 points.
Oh boy.
Which, it's great for Jake to win that kind of match. Not something you see super often. But the fact here is that all of his running backs were pretty dang solid in Zeke, Fournette, and Sony Michel, who just has been pretty solid for a while now. I don't really have a whole lot else to say on Jake's side of the ball this week. Not a whole lot of other things noteworthy in my opinion, besides for the fact that, of course, the Patriots defense week in, week out is just ridiculous.
Yeah, on the other side of the ball with Logan, talked about how Jake had 3 players combined for 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
Logan had 4 players combined for 0.9 points. He got goosed by Demarcus Robinson,
Oh my God.
the Jets defense, and then there was one other 0, I thought. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it was just 3 players.
Well, just 3 players.
Yeah,
So that's not a
Hayden
point.
Hurst got 0.9 for him.
Yeah.
Oof. It's really hard to win with that kind of stuff going on your team. He started Chark and Fuller after their great weeks last week, and they both kind of came back to earth. Will Fuller had a couple drop touchdowns, which he really needed to catch if Logan wanted to win this game.
Yeah.
And then Chark was shattered by Lattimore, so you can't really expect a lot from him.
Mm-hmm.
But the good news for Logan is the Jets look competent. And as a not-so-closeted Jets fan, with many Jets on his team, probably going to pick up Sam Darnold at some point, if I know Logan at all. They might be able to actually do some stuff for Logan in the consolation bracket this year.
Yeah, they do look competent, and they get New England and Jacksonville next week. So I guess Jacksonville without Jalen Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not that they've had him the whole season at all, but they do have New England this next week. So,
Not great. But after that,
yeah, it lines up for sure. Alrighty, next matchup here. Justin versus Cam. Cam, you won this week.
as per usual.
As per usual. Starting off with your side here, the return of Tyreek Hill does like one of the weirdest mossings of all time I've ever seen. And with, like, I think it might have been his first or second reception of the game. It was pretty wild there. Cooper Kupp comes back to earth in a game where I think that the ran to a total of 78 yards through the air. I think
Something like
Cooper
that.
Kupp got 17 of them.
Yeesh.
Still 4 receptions for that's you can't blame him for that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's moving on from there. I was gonna say Kupp had a bad week, but he does get the Falcons this week, which we're going to talk about a lot in this week coming up. Standout games from both Kittle and Scary Terry, which is great for you. I think Terry gets a tough matchup this weekend for San Francisco. Yeah, actually they play each other this week. Well, that's fun. But yeah, and then on your side, the biggest note maybe on your side of the ball in total is that Jamal Williams. Oh my God, this man has it's like in a split back role puts up a running back one type of performance. What happens if Aaron Jones starts missing time as he's prone to do? That's a very valuable asset on your bench there.
Yeah, I dropped Auden Tate for him because my dad was like, I think Aaron Jones or Jamal Williams is the best running back on the Packers. And I was like, I don't really think that, but sure, I'll pick him up.
Yeah,
Thanks, Dad.
I don't know. I don't think he might get better. He might get better usage on like better downs and better against better defensive schemes. He's definitely not the better runner. I don't know.
He didn't drop an easy touchdown pass.
Oh, okay, that's true.
Yeah, but speaking of dropping touchdown passes, let's talk about Justin.
But before that, I gotta hold you off for a second here. If we're gonna talk about Justin's team, we need to go in the panic room.
Why?
We're just follow me. Just follow me. All right, Cam. We're in the panic room. I know I remember 2 weeks ago, we had an interference come on to our podcast of a mysterious robotic voice saying things like, "Fear MATLAB." And Cam, you won this week and then taunted MATLAB.
Matt with a capital L because I handed it to Justin Lab.
I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried about what this MATLAB, Skynet type thing is going on here.
I have seen Eagle Eye.
Yeah? At the Shia LaBeouf movie?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that being said, now that we're in the panic room, I think we have wall-to-wall encryption while we're in this panic room. You should go ahead and start talking about this team then.
Alright. Yeah, I had Jameis Winston on his team, who for most of the game had negative points, and then ended the game with 10. So not bad. Kind of okay with that. But Christian McCaffrey also got bottled up that game, Frankie. He only scored 20 points.
Only 20 points.
Way to go. 2 touchdowns. Just Jesus Christ, man. But Ingram, we were really scared of him. Or at least I was playing against Cincinnati. But, 1 touchdown, 50 yards on the ground isn't anything that you're really happy with if you're Justin. Like, you're fine with it.
Yeah,
but not what you needed.
Not a weak winner.
Yeah, and then Justin benched Brandon Cooks, even though he was playing. And it actually kind of worked out for him, because he started Preston Williams over him, who only scored 0.6 less points, 4.1. Pretty wild move,
yeah.
But that's okay. However, we have to talk about Justin's team. We have to talk about the fact that he has 3 defenses on his team. The Redskins, Jaguars, and Rams.
Uh-huh.
And, you just kind of see the effect of that with him being forced to start both Jarvis Landry and Preston Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he holding 3 defenses, and the highest ranked one is the number 18 ranked defense on the season?
Yeah, when you put it like that.
Yeah. And literally, it's not like any of them have great matchups coming up. I guess 2 of them play Cincinnati in upcoming weeks, but why are you doing this, Justin? There's absolutely no way his team can, get up players that will improve his team in the future if he's wasting all these bench spots.
Yeah. I mean, hoarding defenses for the end of the season is a valid strategy, but we are midway through the season, and you can't be saying, we're just hoarding these guys for good playoff matchups yet. Yeah, I don't know. And
I'll take the bad game for Cooper Kupp if that means Justin's best player, Greg Zuerlein, only gets 1 point too.
Yeah. All right. I guess now that we're done with talking about Justin's team, we can get out of the panic room. Let's go back upstairs. Alrighty, next matchup here. We have my matchup versus Greg, where I won this week. Lamar Jackson. Can we just like appreciate him? Can we have a moment of like appreciation?
A running back 1 mixed with a quarterback 2.
Like he started off the game with like 80 yards off of like 4 carries. Like it was amazing. And then runs one in the very first possession of the game too. Like that's to 6 points as opposed to a 4-point passing touchdown. It was just, I was already like, man, I feel really good about this week. I would say notes on my team is I had a good day from all of my running backs, which I think the first time that's happened in approximately 3 seasons. Thank you, Adrian Peterson. Or I guess thank you, the Miami Dolphins, for trading Minka Fitzpatrick and being all around terrible. Robert Woods finally found the end zone for the first time this season, Cam, by a jet sweep. We'll take it.
Regression.
Yeah, I was surprised, but I was like, hey, it was another first possession touchdown. I was like, dang, this is really just going my way. It was pretty wild. I had a whole other notes of my teams. Snead didn't do a whole lot. Everyone else kind of did good or whatever else they did. Besides for the only other note I have really on my team here is Chase Edmonds, who gets slightly more of a role as we've seen some injuries plaguing DJ a little bit. DJ logging a full practice today again. So once again, my Chase Edmonds strategy not quite working out. Although he does have flex appeal, I think. I'm not totally sure. I mean, he only gets a total of 7 touches last week. Gets the touchdown to make it look like he had a really good week. But I don't know. There is some flex consideration there. And he does, at least at this point, seem like a pretty dang solid option if DJ does go down for any extended amount of time, which I'm not calling for by any means. But there it is there. And then, yeah, you have Greg.
It's pretty wild that your big brain move of starting Willie Snead over Juju actually worked out.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like, there's no way they don't just like completely take away Juju and say, all right, Devlin Hodges beat us through the air, but then they just decide to say, okay, James Conner beat us through the ground, and then they got beat through the ground. Yeah. It was very odd.
And then over on Greg's side, he got over half his points from 2 players, Matt Ryan and Chris Carson. Yeah. So that means those players did really good, and everyone else did pretty bad. It's tough because he had Matt Ryan, and he got through 2 passing touchdowns to Devontae Freeman. So all those points for Greg just kind of went to you too.
Yeah.
When he could have really used them going more to Calvin Ridley or to Mohamed Sanu.
Right.
Who Greg said he needed to start over Stephon Diggs. And I know Greg probably doesn't listen to the podcast, at least not consistently.
Mm-hmm.
But there's got to be someone else in Corvallis that does. And, you got to relay a message to Greg. Make better start sits, dude. We told him, at least I did, you didn't want him to do this, to start Stephon Diggs. He got 40 points.
Yeah. Ultimately, it wouldn't have mattered. I still would have won this week, but that would have helped his points forward and have the tiebreakers or given him some kind of morale boost or something.
That's why Greg won the Worst Manager Award.
Yeah.
And I did say if he set his perfect lineup, he could have won with 160 points, but
So it's not quite a quarterback start sit, but is this deserving of the Ben McAdoo Award for the week?
Yeah, it's got to be.
I think it has to be.
Yeah.
I'm going to coach this team as long as my key card works.
Greg. Yeah, other than that, I mean, I picked Dalvin Cook, 7th overall, maybe 6th, I don't remember. And 1 pick before that, Greg picked Joe Mixon.
A pick I was very excited about because it meant that maybe Dalvin Cook could fall to me.
Thank you, God, Greg,
Yeah.
for picking Joe Mixon, because he is an unmitigated just disaster this season.
Well, I mean, yeah.
He's fine, but he's absolutely not worth it.
Yeah, he's an above average running back in the league for sure. His offensive line is bottom 3. It's really rough, and it's not like he's getting a boost in some kind of spark by his quarterback either. Or apparently his coach with his 11 personnel every play. But yeah, move on.
Yeah.
To Levi versus Devin. Levi wins again. Surprise 2-1. Although it was a lower scoring week for Levi here, but gets out with a win. Watson, Godwin, and Golden Tate all boost his team to a somewhat of a down week for him, but good enough for one, as I said. Eckler comes into the game. I didn't even remember seeing Eckler in the game, honestly.
Yeah.
And I watched I think I watched every snap. He got 5 carries against 4 receptions, or 3 receptions on 4 targets. They were really trying to get Melvin Gordon going, and it's just Melvin Gordon might not be happening. So maybe it might be time to stop trying to force Melvin Gordon to happen and just trade him away, because Austin Eckler was so much better without him so far, but we'll have to see about that. Also, they were in a negative game script the entire game, so it's hard to judge that totally. Kelsey, another note on Levi's side here, because everything else was kind of average to below average here, is the fact that Travis Kelsey on the season has 1 touchdown. And people have been talking about him as kind of a disappointment overall so far. Maybe for the draft capital, it's probably true, but he still is the tight end 3 on the season. So
Go tight ends.
yeah.
I remember when I had no tight end. That was the worst.
Yeah.
But a team that took the shot at the king but missed was Devin. Okay. So Devin talked all last week about how you couldn't pick up a possible replacement for Gurley if you couldn't play because you had Singletary in your IR spot, so your roster was locked. And eventually you dropped some no-name Bills wide receiver for Ito Smith. He got 0.3 points. And I mean, Ito Smith got around 10 points the 2 weeks before that, so I'm not going to kill you for that. But are you telling me you could not have dropped the Eagles defense, who has literally not been good besides 1 week against the Jets with a third-string quarterback, and has no good matchup coming up until week 13? You couldn't have dropped them to try and put in a bid for Adrian Peterson or Chase Edmonds or some running back, Darrell Henderson? I don't know. Come on, man.
I don't think I've ever seen you this anime about something that isn't your own team.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Devin and I were tied for the lead in the Alphas. He has more points for, so I was happy he lost. But kept complaining about how he couldn't pick up anyone because his roster was locked, and he was holding on the Eagles defense, and I don't get it, man.
Yeah.
Don't get it.
That is,
And then other notes for Devin's team, because I didn't really care about much else. He started 3 Eagles still, and they combined for 30 points, which is not what you want.
Yeah.
From 3 players, 10 points per is all right, but when they're some of your best players, it's not great.
Yeah. I will say about the Eagles defense, they got their 2 best cornerbacks back in practice this week, so they have upside going forward. Just not really.
Sure.
All right, last matchup of last week, Dylan versus Lassie. Matchup of the week,
Oh boy.
which if we noted last week, we picked who was going to win this matchup, and we picked the Lions game, and I got both of those wrong.
Nice.
But in my defense, the Lions should have won. Dylan wins his first game. Congratulations. So, yeah, let's go into his team here. Gets propelled by James Conner, who goes off in prime time. Misses some time at the end of that game when he gets replaced by Benny Snell. Probably not anything serious, but there's no point in playing him for the entire second half. I remember right as the week started, we had the London game early in the morning, Curtis Samuel going off for an early touchdown, and Dylan going it's 7 a.m. and I'm already defeated or whatever. But he does sub in a Mr. Carlos Hyde then for an injured Marquise Hollywood Brown, who fumbles the ball in the first play of the game, and I declare Carlos Hyde double agents. Carlos Hyde then goes on to have a pretty dang good game on the ground, and really is a good force for his team here. I'm trying to see how many points he came away with 16.5 with a touchdown. Pretty dang good there for Dylan. Pretty much everyone on his team had solid enough games, besides for Gerald Everett, and a bit of a down week. I don't even know if it's a down. We can consider it a down week for Michael Gallup at this point. I guess it is a down week. But ever since he got that knee injury, he has been slowed. Yes, in week 5, he got a ton of volume, 7 receptions off of 14 targets. Last week, 7 targets for 4 receptions. Just and he's missing practice, I believe, yesterday and maybe today as well. Limited yesterday. We don't have an update on today yet. So something to keep watch. A healthy Michael Gallup is a really solid asset. He just hasn't been healthy in about a month. And then speaking of unhealthy players, on Dylan's side is Hollywood misses practice again today, as of an hour ago. But yeah, that's all I have for Dylan's side.
Yeah, so for Lassie, unfortunate, When you go up against the worst team in the league, you kind of want to win that.
Yeah.
But maybe he's the worst team in the league. We don't know. Kyler Murray. Last week, I was looking at him, and I was like, he's kind of been disappointing this year. But then I was like, he's kind of on the upswing at least, though. And now he's been really good.
Yeah.
Or at least he was really good last week against Atlanta, which is what you need. 28 points. However, someone who's not been good is Melvin Gordon. Kind of talked about it. Inefficient with his touches. Last year, he was just really good at scoring touchdowns, too. And the team has not been good at that this year whatsoever. Since he's got back, at least. And then Aaron Jones, kind of got the fumble bench treatment along with his drop. However, if he caught that one touchdown pass, he'd probably be pretty happy with him. Mike Evans didn't goose him this week, so that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, the big problem with Lassie's team is just, both of his flex players, Emmanuel Sanders and Josh Gordon, had to leave the games that they were in with injuries in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
And scored a total of 1.7 points. So it's going to be really hard to win against any team like that.
Yeah, and his problem with Lassie's team is his reliance and his grit and determination of starting Josh Gordon every single week when he has not been a startable wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else on Lassie's team to put over him, though. Once he gets Saquon back, his team will be okay, but he really needs him back.
Does he not have fab? He has a decent enough fab. You should have been betting on things like all-in-take guys or something like that, I feel like, or I don't know.
We'll see.
I'm not the owner of the team. So.
Especially with Mike Evans on bye this week. That's a good point.
Yeah. That's it for the review.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go into the preview now for this week.
Wait, one thing on the review.
Go ahead.
I just have a trivia question for you, Frankie.
Oh, boy.
Which division has scored the most points in total on the season?
This is a leading question.
I feel like you can probably guess the answer then.
Well, it's like you think then, okay, who's the highest scoring team? And you go, oh, well, that's definitely Levi's team. But then you have, I think, probably two of the three lowest scoring teams in the league would be Dylan and Dylan and Greg. As opposed to saying the studs and stoners, which are a bit more averaged out, it's a little bit top heavy. But then you talk about averaged out, you're talking about the alphas. And I think we're gonna go with the alphas here for my guess.
Yes, sir. Alphas has scored 2,864 points on the season.
Okay.
Second is the Rotlack with 2,833, so 31 less points.
Uh-huh.
And then right behind them is Studs and Stoners with 2,821, so 12 less points. So it's actually pretty close.
Pretty dang close, and Rotlack is really getting propped up by Levi.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
I noticed that earlier. That was interesting. Because, alphas are the best.
Maybe one of you guys will win the league with some year. Maybe.
No. We're regular season champions.
Uh-huh.
That's how it works.
And then, end of season losers like Jake.
Yeah.
I'll start with our weekly preview here and now. In the first matchup of the week, we have me versus Dylan.
Yeah, and so looking at your team first off, you got a lot of good matchups going on.
Yep.
With a lot of pieces in that Rams-Atlanta game, which you said we talked about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to be really high scoring. And then John Brown versus Miami is like a consensus, really good play this week.
Yeah.
Philip Lindsay versus Kansas City. That's how you beat Kansas City. It's by running it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And since Chris Jones has gone down, it's really easy to do that. And then finally, Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews against Seattle also project to be a really high-scoring game.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot going on. That's solid for you. You got no one in your flex spots right now. Kind of curious, Frankie. You gotta not forget about that.
Well, I don't know
It's dangerous.
I don't know if you noticed my roster earlier in the week, but until yesterday, I had no one in my starting slots besides for Joey Sly and the Panthers defense who are both on bye.
The mind games.
Well,
have
I
already
haven't made my decision yet. I probably won't make my decision until 5 minutes before the games start.
Hey, you don't want a JP pulled on you, and then even though the game hasn't started yet, you can't change around your lineup.
I think I'll be okay.
Okay, because you'll cheat with the commission powers. We get it.
Well, it
Tyrant
will
Frankie.
literally pop up and say that if I use them. So I probably would not do that.
However, the last thing is having both OBJ and Juju on bye this week helps you because you're not forced to play those awful players. But on the other side, Dylan calls himself the Frankie Killer. That's his team name right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Tebow as his picture because, as we know,
Tebow.
Tebow is the man that kills Frankie's hopes and dreams.
Oh, but it is Tebow. I mean, that was one time. That was a long time ago. That actually kind of hurts.
However, I think Dylan is as much a Frankie killer as Jake Logan is a lady killer.
Ooh.
Not a lot
Ooh.
for those counting at home.
Ouch.
Not a lot of good matchups going on, and also not a lot of good players playing. He's got a lot of people in that Indianapolis Colts-Houston game, which is a divisional game, and it's at Indianapolis, who loves to slow the game down and run the ball a lot. So not expecting that to be as high scoring as a lot of your matchups. Tevin Coleman versus Washington could be super solid, or they could be up by 20 in the first quarter and just, save him, because that's kind of what they've been doing.
Too bad he doesn't have Kittle anymore, huh?
I mean, they don't eat past Kittle when they're up a lot either, so it's sad.
Oh, how are they going to get up? That's what I guess what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With the defense.
Well, maybe, actually.
Oh, wait, but Dylan has defense.
Yeah.
Ooh, be scared. Other than that, though, Adam Thielen against Detroit. Detroit was the team that ruined Adam Thielen's streak of 100-yard games at 8 in a row last season.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, shut him down. However, if Dylan has hope, it's got to be Hollywood Brown coming back, so that way he can kind of minimize the Lamar Jackson points if they all go to Hollywood Brown. Michael Gallup, if he plays and Amari Cooper doesn't, against that Philadelphia secondary. And then the 49ers defense all need to just explode for Dylan. And then he's got a shot.
Yeah.
Not feeling good.
Hollywood wasn't practicing, Gallup wasn't practicing, and the Niners defense.
Yeah, it's
We're
Wednesday.
good. We've been good. They say it's Thursday.
Yeah, but we don't have Thursday practice points.
We have some. I
yeah.
read one earlier.
Hollywood didn't practice
Yeah.
on Thursday.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Next matchup of the week. Next match. I keep saying this. Next matchup we have up here is Tyler versus Justin. Starting off on the Tyler side of the ball, some bad matchups for his running backs, but some decent enough ones for his wide receivers. Is going to need some kind of a flex here because I'm not sure that Tyrell is going to play this week because he didn't practice today. Tyrell Williams didn't. Has some people he could play. The problem is the Browns are on bye, so he's missing Chubb, which is a pretty big thing here for him. And he's what he currently has is Mecole Hardman against Denver. Obviously not a great matchup for your wide receivers, and also with the return of Tyreek Hill. Devontae Parker versus Buffalo, and then we have Fitzmagic, but it's Buffalo. And then we have Noah Fant versus Kansas City, which could be his best play here, unless you want to pick somebody else here, because it doesn't really have anyone else he can plug and play there. And it's currently looking like Tyler is going to enact the kicker flex, kicker option of the kicker flex. Currently has both Will Lutz and Matthew Prater in his kicker slots. Which could give him a solid floor here. The problem is I think he's going to need some upside because he just doesn't have a whole lot going from him there. Yeah, and I guess my only other big note here is that Jimmy Garoppolo is his quarterback, which is in theory a good enough matchup against Washington, but I believe he's the quarterback 24 on the season, and he hasn't done anything really to propel. He's had generally, you want your quarterback to score around 20 points. That's just kind of the goal. He scored 22 points in week 2, but the closest he got into that since then was week 5 when he scored less than 14, and he's had a 7-point week, a 10-point week, 11-point week. It's just not a whole lot there for him. I'm not sure if there's anyone on the wire who I'd go over him at this point either.
Andy Dalton.
Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, Kirk Cousins. Well, I don't know. I think I might be starting Brissett in Dynasty, actually. I can't remember. I think I am, though. Yeah, I am starting Brissett, so I might go Brissett. But anyways, we'll see what Tyler does there. Other side of the ball here, though, is Justin's side. Justin is starting Damian Williams against Denver after he got 1 carry last week. Was 2 weeks ago we saw the same thing with Shady, who then came back with a big game. So who knows? Goff and Cook will look to get back on track versus Atlanta. There's that matchup we were talking about. And then he has Dante Pettis going this week as well. He's going up against Washington, which is, once again, in theory, a good matchup. But it's a real dart throw. Dante Pettis has not seen, or no receivers really in San Francisco besides for Kittle has seen any kind of consistent production for him. But I'm interested enough in this matchup just because we have kicker flex versus kicker flex.
That'll be a rousing good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for both these teams because they're probably missing their best player with Tyler missing Nick Chubb, Justin missing Mark McCaffrey.
Yeah.
But I mean, Justin is just an all-around stronger team right now.
Yeah.
Than the beta Tyler Walker.
Wow.
He said it.
Yeah, I know, but.
However, wait, what were the odds Justin put out for this matchup? I kind of.
Oh yeah, let's take a look at that. The odds for Justin defeats Tyler Walker 64.5% of the time.
All right, so nothing insurmountable.
I mean, these odds are only based on previous performance, right? So it doesn't have anything to do with the matchups this week.
You don't know that.
That's I think it's
proprietary formula.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he told me. But
I mean, I also have helped work on the code. So.
Yeah.
But anyways, the next matchup we have here, Greg versus Lassie, also known as the 1-in-5 off. Oh boy.
Wow.
So because of that, I'm just gonna put out some of the reasons why these teams can score good this week. You know, be positive.
Mm-hmm.
So Greg, we've talked a lot about Rams Atlanta, but Greg has a lot of Atlanta players, except for Julio Jones. However, the Rams now have Jalen Ramsey, not Jarvis Landry. Anyways, and if he shuts down Julio, that's a lot of targets that can go to the other Atlanta wide receivers like Calvin Ridley and Mohamed Sanu, which would be really good for Greg.
Yeah.
And then Chris Carson, you know, Dylan's favorite player, can feast any week. That could be really good for Greg. And then he's starting Jason Witten. Oh boy.
He started him so many times. Like, Greg has been a Tyler Eifert, Jason Witten truther. I can't think of an island I'd like to be on less.
I mean, he started Jimmy Graham last week. Oh boy.
Yeah, and then Jimmy Graham, like.
But this week they play the Eagles, and Jason Witten is famous for running 3 miles an hour and just destroying the Eagles' dreams.
3 miles an hour.
So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
On the other side, though, we got Lassie finally getting Saquon Barkley back, probably, which could be really good for him. He really needs it. And then you got Emmanuel Sanders, who supposedly has recovered from his injury already and will play tonight. And against the Chiefs, they may need to throw to him, so that could be really good for Lassie. And Kyler Murray's a good fantasy quarterback. So is Matt Ryan. So there's some good stuff going on.
Yeah.
But Lassie's missing Mike Evans on bye, and Greg Olsen, and he's not doing anything with the lineup. And he still has the Ravens defense against Seattle. Eesh.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty low-scoring matchup overall. I want to say one thing about Greg's team. I've been hearing through the grapevines, it's not major talks, but some smaller talks through the NFL, that there is some Mohamed Sanu trade talks going on, just bit here and there. So I'm interested to see, like, if that pans out anyway. I'd like to see, because, like, we've been talking about, like, the fact that him starting both Sanu and Ridley, they essentially just take targets away from each other, production away from each other. So if Sanu is traded to, say, like, just an average passing offense, that could be an upgrade for both players.
Yeah.
I don't know how likely the trade is actually to happen, but we will have to see. Alrighty, next matchup here, we have Devin versus Logan. I brought up my phone here, Cam. I see that you see me looking at it, because I have some text to read off to you.
Okay, let's see what happens.
Basically, my first note on Devin's team here is I said that Singletary is arguably the flex play of the week. I texted Devin last night. Is Devin Singletary on the market? And or Cortland Sutton? He goes, nah. I go, come on, there's always a price. I get not wanting to get rid of Sutton, but Singletary's the RB60. And he goes, nah, he my meal ticket. That was the end of our conversation because I was so annoyed I refused to respond to that.
Well, if there's one thing I know about Devin, it's that he loves meals. So he's not going to give up.
What does that
meal
even
ticket.
mean? Is there a context I'm missing? What is a meal ticket? What does that even mean?
I mean, I think it's like if you're getting rationed, you know, you take your
Oh,
ticket to the
I
counter.
get what a meal ticket is,
Oh,
but
okay.
how is Devin Singletary a meal ticket for his fantasy team?
Because if he goes off, then Devin's eaten, fam.
Well, that's music for any player. That's so silly. Anyways, yeah, I was saying Singletary's a great play. Sutton is a wide receiver upside every single week of the season so far, and this week as well against Kansas City. And we mentioned earlier talking about his roster of being locked. His roster is currently locked right now as well because Gurley is no longer like IR eligible, so he's gonna have to do something here. But he's only starting 2 Eagles this week from what I can see.
Is he not starting the bum?
Algalar?
Whoa.
Aguilar's on his bench, starting Jeffrey Ertz. But
This is going to be the 1 week where Aguilar goes off. That'll be wild.
that would be great, but also terrible. Because that would put him in that'd be so bad for him. Because not only would he lose all the points, we probably want to start him next week too, which would just be a mistake in general. On Logan's side of the ball, we had some major yikes alert over here on Logan's side for this week.
Yikes.
Jets versus Pats. That's a yikes.
Yikes.
Starting a second string tight end in Hayden Hurst. That's a yikes.
Yikes.
Although the Ravens are passing to the tight ends more than any other team, percentage-wise. The fact is they run these 3 tight end sets all the time, but still Mark Andrews is the only startable one. E-Rob, has a little green, name next to him this week and going against the Saints, but he's going to get shadowed by Marshawn Lattimore. That's a yikes. Going to need big weeks from Josh Jacobs and Will Fuller, which could happen. Which could happen at least from Josh Jacobs. Not super sure about Will Fuller this week, but yeah, I don't know, man. Divisional matchup in primetime for Dak Prescott as well against Philadelphia. Don't really know what to expect here from there. I do he is the Jets defense in currently, as I think. I mean, he is the Titans defense and the Jets defense. I think he's probably going to change those out eventually, but at least for now, it's not looking great for our friend Logan here.
Yeah. Still got to start Hayden Hurst. Jeez.
Yeah, it's not exactly ideal.
Yeah. But Devin, he can't win without Todd Gurley on the team.
Can't win with him either. Oh, okay, he is 4-2. So who am I to talk?
Yeah. Moving on, we have the Jake off. Jake Logan versus Jacob Pond. Pretty wild, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So starting with Jake Logan, he is Josh Allen's week, probably top streaming quarterback and Jake's love affair.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty good playing against Miami. And of his top running backs, one of them has a really good matchup against Leonard Fournette with Cincinnati. One has a pretty bad matchup, Ezekiel versus Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But they're both really good running backs so far this season, so that's solid. And then Patriots defense, last time they played the Jets, they got 14 points, and now the Jets have a good quarterback. So, not as confident with them as it was previous weeks, but we'll see what happens. And then other than that, Jake's team is garbage this week. Amari Cooper probably not playing, so his starting wide receivers probably going to be Dede Westbrook and Auden Tate. Yeesh. Darren Fells is the starting tight end, which, let's look over how he's been doing. If he scores a touchdown, he's above double digits. And then other than that, he scored 1 point something and 9 point something.
Sounds like a tight end.
Yeah, it does. Pour one out for Will Dissly.
Yeah.
And then, starting Sony Michel, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens. And I don't know who he would put in from his lineup if, oh my God, Amari Cooper doesn't play. But it's probably going to be Corey Davis.
Yeah.
Jesus. On the other side, Jake's got Patrick Mahomes on the road against Denver Thursday night. Probably still hobbled. Not great considering Patrick Mahomes, but he's still been solid. His top running backs. Why is he benching James White for Royce Freeman? I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense because they're playing against Kansas City. That's a big brain move, Jake. We'll see if it pays off.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I would put James White in his flex currently, and I'm not so sure I would. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, Jake's team is good.
Yeah.
Let's get things clear. It's been kind of bad when he had some injuries with Hunter Henry being gone and Keenan Allen underperforming.
Mm-hmm.
But, he's got a solid team. Not as solid as Jake's running backs, but literally everywhere else, it's so much better. Tyler Lockett compared to Auden Tate. Hunter Henry compared to Darren Fells. Larry Fitzgerald, Dede Westbrook. Flexing Evan Ingram versus Sony Michel, I guess, is kind of even. No, because Evan Ingram is playing against Arizona. Jesus Christ. So Jake Pond is going to absolutely destroy Jake Logan this week. That's my call on this.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely some potential for that. I would not be surprised by any means. Yeah, that's I'm just trying to think of like ways that like Jake Logan wins this week, and I'm not too sure I see them here. It's unfortunate. But all right, let's move on here then to I forgot what I was gonna say. Jake won the Tryhard Challenge last week.
I have to work harder. I want to excel. I want to be the greatest, so I'll keep on trying until I've got what it takes to do that.
Yes, he did.
Against Logan. And so this is not, I don't believe we consider JP a tryhard
No.
this week.
No.
So he will retain for this week. Guess who Jake plays next week?
Is it you?
It's your boy. I'm taking the chalice.
Oh, calling your shot.
We'll see you then, Jake. For the last matchup of this upcoming week, we have your matchup, you versus Levi. Well,
Wait, so Frankie,
Yes.
live on air. We never actually determined a matchup of the week, but I put this last, partly because it's mine and I just didn't want to talk about it, but also it's the two top teams in the league going against each other.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Oh yeah, this is really the matchup of the week.
Okay.
I've noticed something, Cam.
Huh.
Is there no upset of the week this week?
No, I couldn't really think about it beforehand.
I thought I was saying you were going to call it an upset against yourself because you're currently favored to win this matchup.
Okay, I have a reason that I am guaranteed to win this matchup. And I don't know if I should bring it up now or later.
I'll run through it and then you can talk about that.
Okay.
Kamara hasn't been practicing this week very much, if at all. Had 3 slower weeks against Chicago this week, which should be a somewhat better matchup for him. As we just saw Josh Jacobs do very well against them. High upside with Burita this week for you. And two other players with high upside as well as you have Cooper Kupp versus Atlanta and Tyreek Hill against Denver. Not, on paper not exactly amazing, but we know that Tyreek Hill is a target machine, no matter who they're playing against. Let's see, also on your team, Scary Terry, you currently have in your flex here against one of the best defenses in the league currently in San Francisco. And I guess my question here is, are you looking for, I guess, like, it's not exactly an amazing matchup for Terry. I don't think he's unstartable by any means, but I think it would help you out a lot if Christian Kirk was back in the lineup and practicing this week.
I would put him over Scary Terry.
Yeah,
Or
so
McLaurin F1.
yeah, so exactly what McLaurin. What?
Because he doesn't like the name Scary Terry, and I respect him enough as the best wide receiver on my team.
Yeah, okay. And I guess my only other note on your team is the fact that you're starting Wentz against Dallas, which could be a very negative game script, but also the Eagles are such a weirdly like up and down team. It's hard to know what you're going to get out of them on a week to week basis. And Wentz has been solid pretty much every single week, but it's not exactly an upside play, I wouldn't say.
I mean, the only week he scored below 17 was when they were just routing the Jets, and I don't feel like this game will be a rout, so I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is like the best week he had was a 25-point week, which is like I said earlier, 20 points is about what you want.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying like there's no Lamar Jackson 35-point upside week. There's nothing.
We get it. You have a good quarterback, but I'm not starting Gardner Minshew over Carson Wentz.
God, starting Brisket.
Is that better?
Against Houston. In Indianapolis, maybe.
Is it worth dropping someone? Come on, man.
Christian Kirk is officially out. Throw him to your injury reserve. I'm like, to give you. On Levi's side, Derrick Henry looks to get back on track this week against a very beatable Chargers front, which we just saw. Floor and good upside play this week for Mr. Frank Gore going against Miami, as we just saw what Adrian Peterson can do against them. Upside for Tate as well this week against Arizona. And tough matchups for Michael Thomas and Crowder, which could, as a whole, like really slow his roster down. And so I'm not expecting like another, I think I'm expecting another somewhat down week from Levi's side. Probably still in like the 130-point range, but not quite like the 160s as we've seen him be able to score in previous weeks.
So Levi's going to lose for one reason and one reason only.
Only one reason.
Yes. Chris Godwin's on bye. Can't win without him. We all know it. Chris Godwin's amazing. He's on my dynasty team. He's great. But he's not playing. Sorry, Levi.
All right. That's it.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Alrighty, and that was all of the matchups this week. And let's get into the mailbag here. And we have questions from, you guessed it, Dylan Mikkonen.
We should just call this the Dylan bag.
Yeah, pretty much. Starts off, says, Frankie, how does it feel that you'll be last in the league this time next week? I don't understand this question, considering even if you beat me this week, I'll still beat you in the points tiebreaker, so I wouldn't be last place, but...
That also assumes that both Greg and Lassie win, and they are playing each other, so that is impossible.
So it's literally impossible for you to last place, but for multiple reasons.
Ask stupid questions, get stupid answers,
Yeah.
Dylan.
Cam, how does it feel to be bad at fantasy, but just really lucky?
I would counter this with, Dylan, if I played you every single week, I would be 6-0 right now, which is better than my 5-1 record.
Yeah.
So, anyone who knows how it feels to be bad at fantasy, it should be you.
You've
Lucky, I haven't won yet, so I'm not lucky.
Say you also scored over 100 more points than he has, and I've scored 130 more than he has. Just a side note.
Yeah, so Dylan, it feels like how it feels to be you, but to actually get wins.
Both
nice.
he goes, and then he goes, both of you between Levi. So he wrote Eminem, McCaffrey, Matt Lab, or referred to Justin. Between you, Justin, and himself being Dylan, how does it feel that Rodlag will be taking home the championship for a third year in a row? Dylan, yes, Levi's team is good. That is, no one can deny that fact.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is that you put yourself in this, and then you even put Greg, who has more points scored on the season than you, and has the same record as you, even though he's had 140 more points scored against him. Show some respect to my man Greg. Oh my god.
I feel like it would be cool if we had a bet where, like, you, me, and Dylan, whichever division wins the championship, the other two have to do something. I should figure something out.
Okay. Maybe for next season, or I don't know.
No, we can do it this season.
Okay. All right, we'll think about it.
You don't feel good about your division this
Well,
season,
no, I
do
don't
you,
know if
Frankie?
it's fair. We're all the way halfway through the season, but
I mean, it's still a long time.
yeah. And the last thing you wrote was, I want a prediction from both of you, please. Whose player's performance will be the most tilting of the week? I don't know if he means like NFL player or owner in fantasy.
I thought it was like in our matchups in particular, who we get tilted against.
Huh.
Because for me, it's definitely Derrick Henry. Because I just
Yeah.
said it's a really good matchup, and he's just like he either runs for 3 yards or 73 yards and a touchdown. So I'm just hoping that second one doesn't happen.
I'm looking at his roster real quick here. Someone who would be tilting to go off against me.
Gallup,
Not really. I don't know, why would that be tilting?
because he's gonna get like 3 touchdowns.
No, I mean,
He's going to pull a Stephon Diggs. Calling my shot.
if anyone, it'd probably be Aaron Rodgers. Just because I don't like him as a person or player.
Pretty sweet.
And what he did to the Steelers in Super Bowl, I will never forgive him for. So probably Aaron Rodgers. But in a way that and like, although that would help Dylan's team, there is in a certain like ethereal way that also like tells Dylan, just as a Vikings fan too. So
Yeah.
Congratulations, you played yourself. And that's it for the questions this week, unless we got anything last second.
No, sir.
Thank you for listening to an episode of Anyone But Cam Fantasy Football Podcast. I have been Frankie.
And I am the future league champion, Cam Benson. And by that, I just mean I beat Levi.
Yeah, as the
first.
former league champion, I wish that luck upon you. So you can,
I don't want
so
it.
that you can
Take it back.
one day taste the feel that
I don't
what
need
victory.
your bad juju on.
And we'll catch you next week with a preview of this week, a review of this week, a preview of next week, and I don't know, maybe it's time for new power rankings pretty soon here. It's been a little bit, maybe next week, maybe the week after,
Halfway through the season.
and we'll see you then.
Peace.